This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio.
Moving to Vegas, there's no better time than now. Where can you find a 3-bedroom home with a balcony and patio, with upgraded flooring, all appliances included, newly painted, move-in ready, with a community park and pool for under $400,000? Not to mention that it is so convenient to shopping, schools, entertainment. And of course, what is Vegas without the Strip? So what are you waiting for? Call Benjamina today at 702-281-9063. Mia is also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can also visit www.benjaminamiacasino.com and view available homes anytime. Remember, the house wins when you bet on Benjamina Mia Casino. On the Dot is presented by Benjamina Mia Casino. Licensed real estate professional since 2008. License number S01669991 LLC. It's a lunch hour in Vegas, and we're on the dot with Dot and Mia here on PHLV Radio.
Hello, now I have my mic on. The last time I said this is the greatest show on planet Earth. Okay, nobody agreed with me. Welcome to On the Dot with Dot and Mia. My name is Dorothy To, and this is your holding space for curiosity and conversation, for intuition and insights, for positivity and possibilities. So this is brought to you by the wonderful person here. Her name's Mia. She's my partner in fun. Say hello, Mia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mia, and let me correct you. I will agree with you.
You will agree with me that this is the greatest, the greatest show on earth.
And Kuya Yo will agree too, right?
Okay.
So there's 3 of us.
All right.
That's Noah.
Yes, and we are in cahoots with the University of the Philippines Alumni Association of Nevada, although I'm not sure if they all agree with that. And of course, PHLV. And thank you very much for tuning in with us. This is our second season here. Yep.
Yes. And for the month of July, we have All American Influence. And our topic for today is the American Dream, which I think all migrants would agree is
the American Dream.
Yes. What is the American Dream? What is the American Dream for you, Dad?
Oh, for me, I did not have that.
Me too.
I was, to be honest, well, I'm always honest, but to be more honest, at this hour, 12:04, when I was studying in UP Mia, I had this idea that anything American is not good for me,
because
yes, the colonial mentality that we were standing against, and so who would have imagined that I would be here and enjoying my life here? So the dream for me now is to continue the peace that I'm feeling, that I'm experiencing, to experience the various opportunities presented by this great nation, and at the same time keep the best of my culture. So that's my dream.
Right.
What's yours?
Actually, it's the same for me. I didn't want to go to America. I was having the time of my life in the Philippines. I was at the prime of my career, but I had to give that up to be a housewife because my college sweetheart was in America. So, yeah, I gave that up to be a housewife.
It's in the name of love.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Oh, nako.
But traditionally,
yes,
a typical American dream would be, having a more convenient life here in America.
Yes. True,
for some people,
yeah. All right.
So, our
Let's
very
bring in our
special guest
Yes.
I have the honor of presenting our newly elected president too. Yes.
Newly elected president.
Elected from last night. That's why my hair is like this too.
President of what?
Of the Filipiniana Dance Company of Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you just dance
Just last night too.
You did that. You danced your way up to the top. Okay, don't tell me about it now. Tell me about it later. Go ahead, Mia.
He is the dancing attorney.
Okay, I love that.
So our guest, let me introduce him properly, is Mr. Rolando Rex Velasquez, is an attorney who specializes in immigration law, which is our topic today. He began his career as a Justice Department trial attorney for the U.S. Immigration INS. Did you go through that? Oh, you just had your citizenship this year, right?
Last year. Yes,
Last year. Yeah. Before transitioning into private practice, he's been practicing law for 28 years. Wow, Rex, you're just 30.
Look at the gray hair. See?
What gray?
And has been in Las Vegas for now 18 years. He's passionate about community service and is presently the immediate past district governor for the Lions District 46, covering the state of Nevada and parts of Eastern California. For as long as a long-time member and now the president of Filipiniana Dance Company of Las Vegas, you can often see him performing our Filipino folk dances, line dances, that showcase the aspect of our culture to our local community at large. For NAFA, he has been a vice region chair and now serves as the legal advisor to our Nevada chapter.
Okay.
More importantly, he is the husband of Kristen, also a lioness, and the father of 2 UNLV boys. Attorney Rolando Rex Velasquez. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, attorney.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Our honor.
Yeah, Mia.
Well, you were talking about stressing the fact that I am the dancing attorney, and I'll have to tell you.
Oh, yeah. How did that happen?
Well, you have to understand that I was born and raised in the U.S., and in our little town of Buffalo, New York, there weren't that many Filipino families. It's just that as I was growing up, I was very lucky because my aunt, who was living with us at the time, apparently also happened to enjoy Filipino folk dancing.
Oh.
So when I was growing up, they had started their own little dance group in Buffalo. And of course, they needed boys. So since I lived in the house, the first thing that they did was they said, "Rex, you're going to dance." I had no idea what this was about. But, as a little kid, I began dancing the tinikling, salakot, and, all those dances like that to preserve the Filipino culture in the community because we were the only ones that were representing, the Philippines. So I remember going, as I was growing up, to different festivals and whatnot, and we would be the showcase doing our dances and the Hawaiian dances also. And that's how I got started. But I was born and raised in the U.S., so this was my only real connection to the Filipino culture.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was lucky because I had that. And then I've lost touch with it. When I came to Vegas, again, I needed the opportunity to try and connect with my Filipino heritage because I was new in town, I didn't know anybody, and it just so happened that I showed up at an event and I saw the Filipiniana dancing. Yeah. So, I talked to them. I said, "Oh, I used to do this also when I was a kid. How can I get involved?" Next thing you know, I'm dancing with them as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I just need a moment for that, You knew about the culture through dance. That's your connection. Just like Jackie said last week that she knew about her. She learned more about her heritage through dance. So for you, that's your continuing connection with the Philippines, your heritage.
And again, when I got here to the community, when I grew up, I really didn't know anything about the Philippines except what my family happened to pass on. when I got here to Las Vegas, I didn't realize how vibrant the Filipino community really was and diverse. This is the first time I heard about Visayan, Ilocano, just the regular Metro
Yes.
Manila area and whatnot. You know, I didn't know about all these different groups, you know, so when people would ask me, where are you from? They weren't asking, was I born in the Philippines or not? They wanted specifically to know, what region was I from? And I didn't know.
That's
you
the
know?
assumption, right?
Right,
Because
so-
you're Filipino, yes.
But I still had Filipiniana, you know, the dance company, to embrace as something that I knew. So,
All right. Wow. So, attorney, what made you interested? What made you focus on immigration law?
great question.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I was supposed to be a doctor. Of course,
Okay.
you know, like all Filipino families want, right? Mom and dad were both doctors. I grew up in hospitals. I was volunteering and working in hospitals and whatnot. But along the way, especially when I was in school, I somehow got involved in the speech and debate program. And that just happened to light the fire under me regarding my love for arguing and talking and litigating. So when I got to college, you know, I just one day called up my family and I said, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm going to switch my major. I'm not pre-med anymore. I'm going to be pre-law.
Pre-law.
Yep. So that's how it all started.
Wow.
At least my involvement with law. The immigration part's a separate story.
It's a different story, the immigration part.
Well, you
I'm
know.
ready for it.
Okay. Well, you know, like any other young kid, when I went into law school, I grew up in the 80s. So I was watching programs like LA Law and things like that. So my aspiration was to be a big hotshot corporate attorney, environmental attorney, perhaps entertainment law, right? Those were the sexy things at the time.
All right.
You know, but that's what I really wanted. Well, when I was in law school, the reality was that, you know, the legal field was very different. And it just so happened that when I was in school, I was hired as a clerk for the Justice Department to work at INS. So as I was clerking, I was just, you know, doing that to earn money, and of course I got to know the people. Lo and behold, when I graduated from law school, walking out of graduation, I was one of maybe 10 kids in my class who actually had a job because the INS offered me a job right away. So I was lucky, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It's just I happened to have the experience. I happened to have the connection. So I took the job because there weren't that many jobs available. So I started working for the INS. And the next thing you know, that became my specialty.
It stuck. Yeah, it stuck. Yeah, and
For better or for worse.
And so you knew each other through Filipiniana, not
Yes.
through any immigration
Oh, no.
thing.
No,
Okay. Right. So I was looking up on the word immigration, and the University of Google search led me to the Canadian website, and it said there are 4 kinds of immigration for them, for the immigrants for them. I said, no, I'm not interested in Canadian law. But I'm interested in us, you know. So I do not know. Correct me if I'm wrong, attorney. if I say that you did not firsthand experience immigration because you were born here, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So your cases, would they be more of Filipino cases, or, you know, it's a general thing, general immigration?
Actually, let me backtrack for a second.
All right.
Because the first real connection that I even knew about immigration is when I remember one day, I don't know why I remember this, Mom and Dad, you know, were setting up this elaborate backdrop in our house, you know, white sheet and everything, and they were taking photos of themselves. I'm like, and I'm a kid, I'm asking, what's this all about? What are you taking your headshots for? They said, oh, we need this for our certificate. I'm like, what certificate do you need? You know, again, as a kid, I didn't understand. So it was for their citizenship certificates that they were doing this for. So that's what they
That's
told
your
me.
first
And that's when I first realized, you're not citizens? I didn't know that. You know, had no experience about that. So cut to today. Here I am as an immigration lawyer, and I would say that in actuality, in this community, I would say the majority of my cases are Latino. You know, I have a share of Filipino cases as well, but most of my cases are now Latino because that's the biggest ethnic community here in town.
Wow. Yeah.
Followed by the Filipinos.
Yes. I think we're the biggest Asian among the Asian communities. Say the Filipinos comprise as a group. I think we comprise the biggest among the Asians
Yes.
who are here.
In Nevada.
Yeah, ethnically, so Latinos, of course, are the largest, minority group. Close second is Asians, but really it's the Filipino population that comprises most of the Asian population here in town.
Okay. So on the basis of your experiences and I guess your knowledge as well, how impactful I don't know if that's my language teacher told me that is not a correct word, impactful, but well, it's being used, so let me just use that anyway. So what's the impact for you of you're handling cases of, let's say, Filipinos, just focusing on Filipinos, you're handling their cases coming here to specifically Nevada or Las Vegas, and do you have like how does your culture, how does your background information about the Philippines and your upbringing, how do they factor into the way you handle your cases? I don't know if that's even a relevant question, but let me just ask that,
So I got a story for you then.
I love it. Okay.
When I was a new government attorney with the INS in New York, I'll never forget, I think this was in my first year, new attorney, so I'm just barely getting to know everybody, but we were doing a case and it involved a Filipino, and for the INS, I'm a prosecutor, but this is at the time, this had to have been very early on because I was still training. So I was with a senior attorney, and they were the ones that were actually prosecuting the case. I was sitting second chair. And the judge was having a hard time because this person is fighting to stay here in the United States, and they were explaining what they do. And the judge was very, I think sarcastic is the word, and asking, so your job is just to, collect boxes and put stuff inside of it and send it back to the Philippines? What kind of job is that? I got indignant. And I'm the prosecutor, second chair.
Yeah.
So at some point, I had the opportunity to pull the judge to the side. We went back behind chambers, and I said, Judge, this is a very legitimate job. It's called Balabagan boxes, and what they do is very important in terms of being able to, send goods, whether it's to family, to friends, or, as needed. But it's a very big enterprise, and you'd be surprised, Judge, with how much, people, appreciate it and earn from it. And I was very quietly, I was very proud of being able to stick up for our culture that way, and stand up to the judge. And I was just a new attorney, I couldn't believe I was doing that, but I was very, very indignant, about his dismissal of what Filipinos do.
Like a patronizing attitude. Yes, thank you for that. Then, what happened to that case?
He won.
Right.
In the end, I think the judge was kind of surprised that, who's this new attorney? Why is he talking to me like this?
Okay.
But in the end, I was sticking up for the guy, and he won his case. He was able to stay.
Okay,
good.
That's good. So, what's your American dream? Or do you even have such a thing, such a word in your vocabulary?
I am often asked about this, of course, because I'm an immigration lawyer, and for most people, the ability to just come here. If you work hard, you can get ahead. In very, very few other countries do you have this opportunity just to come here, work hard, and get ahead. So, and I've seen it. if you don't abuse the opportunity and you're
Right.
able to work hard, there are, ways that you can, improve your standing.
True, true. Is
Yeah.
your American dream, did it change at any point? Or
Yes, it
is-
did. Yeah. After living here for quite some time, after I became a housewife, and then I pursued my career as a realtor, and I was able to develop my own career. And after going back to the Philippines and having been able to get my kids through education for free, and being able to experience all the convenience
Yes.
in the United States, I was able to realize all the benefits of living here. So that kind of changed too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are several changes in me, one of which that I just noticed this past week, actually, attorney and Miss Realtor, yeah, is how my perception of my life in the U.S. has changed over the last decade. I've been here for a decade now, and I'm appreciating the balance of both cultures. The best that I experienced in the Philippines, like you, Mia, I had a lucrative teaching profession back there, building my own house, raising the children, putting them to university, and leaving all that to be here, to be a housewife. My theme song is "In the Name of Love." That's U2 song, "In the Name of Love." That's how I came here, not for any greener pasture, because for me, it's literal. Greener pasture for me is literally back in the Philippines, because we had grass, grass and trees. But here, I'm also appreciating that me doing nothing, quote unquote, doing nothing in terms of employment or entrepreneurship, but me sitting there and reading and absorbing all the best that I could absorb here in the US. It just opened my mind, opened my horizons to where I am right now. So I love that we have the best of both worlds. And if the question is, what's your American dream? I would say it's still the same, enjoying my peace. But I'm also wondering what the American dream is for our other Filipino fellow kababayan, fellows. Do you hear of a common thread of the Filipino dream, or has it changed throughout the years, attorney, in your experience?
The one thing that unites almost all immigrants who are coming to the United States, it's just the same. They want the opportunity. Wherever they were before, whether it, started out in the Philippines, but then tried to go to other places. It's, the opportunity to get ahead here, the potential is so much higher. Again, it just comes down to, if you find the opportunity, you work hard, you can get ahead. And that's what most people are looking for.
I guess even for people who are not competitive, right? That being ahead, or the opening of this vista just opens up, it becomes vibrant for them. Even me, I'm not competitive. I don't care if I wasn't raised in a competitive family, but you said like getting ahead and doing the best and experiencing the best that the environment has to offer, even without that spirit of competition and wanting to get ahead. You just go ahead, you just shine. That's my experience of people who are here. Yes, Mia, you want to say
I
something?
think majority of those that strive for American dream is providing for a better life for their family in the Philippines or wherever they're from.
Is that true for you?
No, but majority.
Majority,
of those,
true. Yeah. That's not true for me either.
Yeah.
Yes. But more of the things we send, the money we send is more of a gift for them, just to enhance their, luxury or pleasure and all that. What about you, attorney? Have you been back to the Philippines?
I'm overdue.
I mean, have you visited?
I have.
Yeah. You have.
I have, yeah. I think we were actually supposed to go right when COVID hit again.
Yeah.
So, I'm overdue. I think the last time I was back was about 10, 11 years ago.
How did that affect your viewpoint of your life here?
I remember the time before that, I had gone back for my brother's graduation because he graduated from UP, the medical school. So I remember when I was visiting him at that time, how jealous I was because, I was in law school in the States, and had my experience. But I saw how he was enjoying his life in the Philippines, all the way down to he had, somebody to come in and clean his apartment every week, somebody to cook, all the way down to doing his laundry, and I looked at him and I said, really? I go, you had all of the, I had to do all these things for myself, and here you are living the life of luxury like that.
That's a different kind of luxury they have, yes.
Yeah. So he really had a good time, and I was jealous of that.
Oh, okay.
But I do enjoy visiting for sure.
So did you finally find out kung anong probinsya yon?
Metro Manila.
All right.
I know that mom is from Malabon, dad is from Las Piñas, so I know they're Metro Manila. And of course I visited mom's hometown and whatnot and seen the family there.
All right.
Incidentally, Rex's father, grandfather, brother, and sister-in-law is from the University of the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
In Manila.
Manila, not Diliman.
Not Diliman.
All right. And
College of Medicine.
Did they ever leave the country, or are they still there?
No, well, I mean, we ended up in the States because mom and dad came
I forgot, yes.
Mom and dad immigrated to the States just as residents back in the late 60s, but they got stuck here because of the Marcos Revolution. Or the takeover, martial law. So they ended up getting stuck in the United States. So that's how I was born here in the States, and that's how we ended up staying.
I see.
That's how that came along. When my brother decided to go to medical school, he ended up going back to UP, even though he was born and raised in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
So that's our connection to back home.
All right. So, pwede na din, alumni.
Yeah.
Association with an alumni.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So my next trajectory of this conversation will be about language and about how we communicate as immigrants here. But I'd like to take the break right now, even if it's only 28 past 12, because I feel like this is going to be something a rich conversation on language after this. So let's take a short break, and we'll be back.
Moving to Vegas, there's no better time than now. Where can you find a 3-bedroom home with a balcony and patio, with upgraded flooring, all appliances included, newly painted, move-in ready, with a community park and pool for under $400,000? Not to mention that it is so convenient to shopping, schools, entertainment. And of course, what is Vegas without the Strip? So what are you waiting for? Call Benjamina today at 702-281-9063. Mia is also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can also visit www.benjaminamiacasino.com and view available homes anytime. Remember, the house wins when you bet on Benjamina Mia Casino.
Just like a friend from back home. This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio.
Welcome back on air, and yes, there was a short moment there where you probably, for those listening on the radio, you just probably heard a very short musical interlude there. That's about UP. And we are open to receiving your membership if you are a UP alumna living in Nevada. And here's our president to speak about UPAAN and our one of the major projects this year. Yes, Mia, go ahead.
Yes, we'd like to invite everyone to our songwriting competition, Himig Husay Ipagmalaki Musikay Ipagdiwang Gawang Pinoy songwriting competition open to all Filipino Americans in Nevada. If you have a song that's your own composition that is not published nor recorded, bring it in PHLV or through our website www.upaanv.com, through MP3, MP4, through cassette, or you can
USB.
send it USB,
Yes.
CD, whatever form. Just send it in before August 1st.
All right.
All right.
Okay. And incidentally, Mia, we want to congratulate one of our guests from May last, 2 months ago. I don't know if you can predict what I'm talking about, Kuya Yo. Can you read
Who
my
is
mind?
this? Kabaing Buntis.
She was our guest and she talked about the other kind of mother. And she said, Lisa
Hasa.
Trevino. So
Yes.
we have, I feel like this is the baby of On the Dot because she was here as our guest and she talked about recovery a little bit. And she's going to have her own show here. Right
Oh,
here
I
on
thought
PHLV.
it's up. Didn't it premiere already? No.
Not yet, not
Oh.
yet. So congratulations if you're interested in recovery. That's a show you want to hear, the Real Recovery Show with Lisa Trevino. And you
Yay!
saw her first
Congratulations,
here.
Lisa.
There she is. You saw her first here at On the Dot, and with over 4,000 followers, I think people will really be greatly helped by this show.
What are the
Yes.
days for the show?
I'm not sure yet, but it's coming up.
Hey,
Yes.
congrats.
Congratulations. We're so
Lisa.
proud of you, Lisa. We're so proud of PHLV for taking part in this show, this recovery show. So anyway, back to our show here with attorney Rex Velasquez. We're talking about the American dream. And earlier I mentioned language and you said songwriting, Mia. And earlier I heard this poetry, spoken poetry, I don't know the genre really, of an immigrant. And the point of her poem was that do not be in disdain of your mother. The title is Broken English. Do not laugh at your mother when she speaks in broken English because she is, I'm getting goosebumps, she's dealing with the loss, so to speak, of her bygone heritage. And she's fumbling for the right word to express emotions and thoughts and nuances that her current language, the English language, could not really capture. So it's like a message for sons and daughters, because I experienced this with Dan, my son. He said, you speak with a very strong Ilonggo accent.
Yeah.
And for a while I was like humiliated, ashamed, and worried about that, because in language, in linguistics, for coming over, English is a second language, the aim is to remove the accent. The aim is to have as little accent as possible, not necessarily to embrace the accent of your mother, of your current country, but to minimize the accent from your past.
Yeah.
So this poem by, I think she's Middle Eastern, I can't remember her name. So my question now for you, attorney, if you are aware of certain programs that help, like in your cases, for example, programs that would help immigrants translate into or acclimatize or acculturate themselves in the American way of life, you know?
You know, I say this, you know, with a smirk, but the easiest program that's available out there to help people assimilate their language, TV. TV and radio. I encourage this amongst all of my, especially when it comes time for citizenship. You know, a lot of my clients who are, you know, where English is not their first language, you know, when it comes time to get ready, I say, look, you know, the first thing that you need to do is turn off the channel that you always watch in Tagalog or in Spanish.
That's powerful. Yes.
You know, just turn that off and start watching the news. You know, just listen to the news, start watching it and just paying attention to that. That's what you want to mimic if you want to really become more accepted. You know, but by the same token, having grown up in the States without a second language, I would encourage those, you know, those American-born kids like me to embrace that part of your heritage, because I think that I was handicapped by the fact that my family was so, you know, focused on making sure that we did not have an accent or anything. We did not have Tagalog in the household when I was growing up. So here I am as an adult, and you know, my ability to speak Tagalog is very, very limited. You know, I can only understand it when they yell at me.
When they're mad.
And what do they say when they yell? Like what?
Oh, things that probably shouldn't be repeated.
Okay. All right. I understand Mia. She keeps the culture in her household, her
They
family
speak
by
Tagalog.
speaking Tagalog. That's because you have a common Tagalog. You come from one region, don't you? And
No, my husband
Timo.
is from Davao.
So he
He
doesn't.
speaks Bisaya.
And your children, do they speak?
No,
also?
they only speak Tagalog.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is that going to be lost?
No. They speak Tagalog. When they speak,
I mean the Cebuano, the Bisaya.
oh no, my husband
Timo.
still speaks Bisaya, but
Ayun.
but at home we speak Tagalog. When I hear them speak English when they're playing, we say speak Tagalog, and they transition to
And
Tagalog.
so they're very good with both languages.
Yes, and my eldest appreciates it because
Okay.
she gets extra for speaking Tagalog.
Right.
Yeah.
So back to you, sir. You were talking off mic earlier about someone with an experience of somebody who got out of the car, and what was that? Is that off mic? Is that
Well,
not
again,
for public
air.
consumption?
yeah, we were. No, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
it's my own story about how I think it's so important to have a second language in your household, especially if you can. So we were growing up in New York, and in the community, we did not learn how to speak Tagalog. This is my brother, my sister, and myself. My brother had the opportunity to go home to go to school for med school, so that was his first real immersion into the Filipino culture. Shock to him. But I didn't know just how much of a transition it was for him until I was visiting him once, and we were going to All Saints Day, going to the cemetery to go visit the plots. And we got into a car accident. Somebody hit his car. And I could not get out of the car, but he could. And I saw him jump out of the car. And I saw him start yelling at the other driver in Tagalog, you know, and they were arguing back and forth in Tagalog. And I was amazed. So when he got back into the car, I just looked at him and I said, wow. I go, you really learned, didn't you? And he didn't realize that, you know, it was so effortless for him at that moment. So I
Okay.
was very proud of him at that moment. I don't know what was said, but it looked important.
That's a very thank you for pointing that out, because when I would be mad at my husband, he's an American, he's African American, but that's another story. I couldn't express myself in English. I mean, how do you get mad in English? You have to translate your emotions.
Yep.
You know, you have to code switch. What is this? You know, how do I explain this to him? So maybe that's the reason why I didn't get mad anymore. It's very rare
You have to
because
think first, Jan.
yeah, it's so hard. hard. It's so hard for me, especially me, Ilonggo. So he knows more of Ilonggo.
Or just to share too, when I used to work in an advertising company in LA, so I was talking to a Filipina, and we were talking in English, but she had a very thick accent. So this American just jumped in and said, "Why do you speak English like that?" to my friend. And I said, "Do you speak a second language?" And then he left.
Yes, yes. I'm interested in stories like those, Mia, especially with your clients, or anyone your friends. For example, if they have experiences like how do they fight? What changes are they experiencing with regards to communicating their feelings and thoughts with their husbands, or Filipinas coming here to marry into this culture. So I don't know if you have funny stories like those.
Well, I don't know about funny, but at least personally, when it comes up in a roundabout kind of way amongst the family, my parents will never have a direct conversation about it, but they have always, alluded to the fact that, especially coming to the U.S. in the late 60s, early 70s, if you can remember that era, and the area of New York where we were from was not very ethnically diverse. So they would never directly talk about the racism that they experienced, but by the same token, they were very proud of the fact that they were able to achieve everything that they did. And this is, as they would put it, despite the fact that English was not our first language, and yet they were able to achieve certain things in their careers, that, was handicapped by the fact that they're not American. They were not born in the United States. English was not their first language, and it was something that I didn't really appreciate until much later in life.
So how are you in this season in our lives, in our this country's geopolitics, for example? I'm not talking politics, but how are you dealing with, for example, the hate crimes, what's your take on those? Racism?
I think it's these days it's very tough. We're spoiled, in my opinion, here in Las Vegas, in Southern Nevada, because of the ethnic diversity that surrounds us. I think that's very great. And my kids, especially, I have two boys, they don't really notice that much in terms of discrimination and racism, but when we have gone other places, that's where they become very sensitive to it. And it's very disheartening to see today compared to what I felt it was like growing up.
It feels like your story, Mia. The first indicator of us being foreigners or immigrants would be our language. No, let me correct myself. That would be the color of our skin.
Yeah.
And then when we open our mouths and when we begin to speak in Spanish, the long I's and the long vowel sounds, the short vowel sounds, and like what I just did, speak and speak, it shows up the culture that's not inherently American for us. Right?
But I think that was a great response that you gave, when you had that experience and you just said, well, do you speak a second language? That brings the conversation full circle for a lot of people when all of a sudden they realize, oh yeah, so it's the ability to be able to express yourself in a second language, as eloquently as most Filipinos are able to, is impressive.
So what exactly does the INS do? I mean, for us, I don't know. I didn't research on the INS, but layman's terms, what do you do?
Well, remember, INS no longer exists. After 9/11. The function of the INS got absorbed into the new agency, Department of Homeland Security.
INS originally was what? Immigration.
Immigration and Naturalization Service.
Okay, so now
So
it
that was
is,
a component of the Department of Justice. That's where I worked with the government.
Okay.
Now
That's why.
yeah.
All right.
So after 9/11, it was under President Bush that that they created the Department of Homeland Security. So a lot of the immigration functions that were under all the different agencies got absorbed into this one big agency, Homeland Security. So the component that most Filipinos will deal with is going to be the benefit side, USCIS, which is United States Citizenship Immigration Services. And that's the branch of the agency that deals with applications, green card, petition, applications for citizenship.
That's not where you are. You're with the DOJ.
Well, I was with the DOJ, INS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now I'm in private practice.
All
but,
right, okay.
When it comes to applications and benefits, it's going to either be the Homeland Security, USCIS, that most people deal with, or eventually it's going to be State Department, the consulate, which is a separate component.
Okay. So many
That's
things.
why my application took so long, because my application was in between that 9/11
Application for citizenship.
naturalization. That's why I couldn't go home
So you submitted before or after?
before 9/11.
9/11.
And then, the break was
How
so
long did it take you, Mia?
I think 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Tonight at 6
That's
p.m., I
why.
think, we have the immigration law with Kuya Yo. Is it 6 p.m. or 7? 7 p.m. We handle, his show handles immigration matters on air,
Yeah.
question
So,
and answer.
My husband Timo did 2 applications when he was a green card holder and a U.S. citizen. So 2 applications for me.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that a new immigrant must hurdle before coming here?
You mean just in general, other than the bureaucracy that you have to get through?
Let's do the bureaucracy because it's fascinating.
Yeah, well, especially in the Filipino community, I think the biggest frustration that everybody always talks about is the waiting time.
Oh,
The waiting times for petitions by brother to sister, brother, sister of U.S. citizen. The two groups that face the longest waiting time in that particular category are going to be the Filipinos and the Mexicans. So that's something that we always share in common with our Latino cousins. That we happen to have a very long waiting period, and it's very frustrating for the families, where you have a citizen who wants to try and sponsor a brother or sister back home in the Philippines, and then they have to wait. More than 20 some years. So that's very frustrating.
Even
for
up to
people.
now, it's still 20
Oh, yeah.
years?
Yeah, I have in my family, I'll still never forget this. So when my dad became a citizen, and this was back in I think he became a citizen in the late 80s.
Wow.
So immediately he filed petitions for his siblings, his brothers and sisters, and he was one of 7. So he filed for everybody. By the time the visas were available more than 20 years later, only one of his siblings, the youngest sister, felt like she could come here to the U.S. Everybody else decided to stay behind. And the sad thing was that in that part of the family, with my aunt, uncle, and my cousins, only one cousin was under the age of 21 at that moment. Everybody was over. So the older cousins got left behind. Only the youngest cousin was able to come here.
yeah.
Frustrating. And that was 20 some years later.
Wow.
And you said it's still, the timeline is still
Yeah.
20 years, up to even with the age of computers and the internet?
Yeah, it has not. The problem with the immigration system today is that many of the procedures, many of the laws that we're dealing with when it comes to legal immigration actually come from mathematical formulas that were put into place in the 1950s. So here we are today, and this is the 21st century, and yet we're dealing with a quota system that was designed back in the 1950s.
Right.
So that's why we're having the problems that we're having today.
Is that going to change? Do you see a change in the offing? No.
No. Unfortunately, I don't see any political stomach to try and fix the immigration system right now.
All right. And that's the same for regardless of which country you're from, or just specific to the Philippines?
Well, it's in general a long wait, but other countries and whatnot don't have the same length of time as Philippines and Mexico due to these mathematical formulas regarding applications versus visa availability and proportions and whatnot.
Yeah, I came upon that word, while I was working on my visa, the raffle. So what raffle is this?
Yeah, that's the visa lottery, which the Philippines...
The lottery, I mean, yes.
Yeah, the lottery is not available to Philippines because of the number of applications that we have from the Philippines.
The lottery.
Yeah.
I call it raffle. Yeah. Wow. So do you have relatives coming over, Mia? Did you petition anyone?
No, it's a joke for me and my husband because he was petitioned by her mom, by his mom when he was in college, and he was my first boyfriend, remember, in college. And
does it mean you have a second boyfriend?
No, he was my very first boyfriend.
Okay.
And so he said, I planted the seed in college.
Oh.
So I could come here.
Okay. Yeah, I have no one. I'm not petitioning anyone. I think the fastest is the visa, the fiancé visa. So
that
far.
is faster. It is traditionally a little bit faster than marriage itself. Yeah. It also depends on if the petitioner is a citizen or just a resident of the United States. So factors like that go into the application process. But, again, it's in general, the immigration process is very daunting. It's very frustrating at times. And when you go into this process, you have to have patience.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get affected with your clients that are deported?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be, huh?
The way that I describe the immigration system in general is that it is a system that is designed to say no. At every opportunity, they would like to say no.
Yeah.
It's only when they have no other choice will they be able to say yes. So that's why, that's the way you have to really look at it. So are there deportations? Yes, all the time. Most people lose, in the immigration court system. It's rare when you actually have somebody who wins.
Wow. What's the top reason for deportation?
Well, the simple, anybody who crosses the border illegally is subject to deportation. That's the easiest violation. Yeah. Anybody who stays here longer than permitted is subject to deportation. So the violation part is always the easiest part for any prosecutor. The hard part is for the person who's trying to fight and stay here.
Okay. So is the American dream, as we perceived back in general, the immigrant, is the American dream valid up to now? I mean, is it still the same, or has it changed, our perception of it?
I think that just at the, as I'll call it, the street level, I think that
How's that?
The American dream still exists.
Yeah.
I think that just at the very purest level, at the lowest level, yes, you work hard, you can get ahead. Now, the opportunities, are, I think, a little bit harder to achieve when it comes to immigration. The ability to achieve immigration status is much harder today than it ever was before. Especially with the way things are being enforced. But in general, when you talk about the American dream, yeah, it still exists.
What would you tweak about it?
I thought we only had 1 hour.
Oh, we have 5 minutes more. What would you tweak? I don't know. I would know the answer to my own question. How about you, sir?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of things I think that could be changed easily. And I think that the government has the opportunity to maybe reclassify some definitions and then expand some visa categories. That there were certain as an example, there was actually a visa category a long time ago that gave somebody a temporary visa to come here to the United States and live and work in the U.S. while waiting for the petition to become available.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
so?
yeah, but it was something that expired. And if they could bring something like that back, boy, that would be, something that makes sense. It's just that, again, politicians today, they don't like to make sense. They don't like to be, reasonable anymore.
I feel
Just
really it
today
has-
only.
yeah. Just today. I feel it has a lot to do with 9/11. The things that are
The
the
changes.
policies.
There,
Yeah.
I think that that would be one place to look, at how
Yes.
things changed dramatically.
Yeah, and for a huge country, for a very rich and abundant country, I told John, my husband, I told him, I can't understand how the U.S. would feel threatened by outside forces when it's so strong and it's so. I don't know about the constant fear of the threat from external forces. I said I can't.
Terrorism.
I don't understand why. Well, enlighten me. So it's terrorism and yeah. Okay, that's it probably. What about you, sir? Do you understand?
No, I understand
do
it.
you?
Again, this is one of those like political science questions that we would debate, in school for hours on end, and it's hard to actually pinpoint one particular thing or way to answer this, other than to say, it seems that the willingness of politicians in general to embrace cooperation is gone.
Embrace cooperation. Right. Okay. That's
The art of war.
the art of war versus peace. All right, so okay, let's shift now. We have less than 4 minutes into our exit, our closing remarks by Mia. Fun things you do here in the U.S. Fun things you do here that you don't normally do anywhere else. Okay, ikaw din, Mia. Go ahead. The best of your American life here. For me, concerts. Concerts.
Fun things. I do a lot of fun things. I
Uh-huh.
have Filipiniana.
Okay. What about you, sir?
Oh, that's definitely right up there. Nowhere else, that I live to perform.
Yeah.
That is my passion, my hobby. If I could do that full time, I would love to go
Okay.
up on stage and just perform all the time.
That
But
is
Yeah.
fun. I thought of joining Filipiniana, but I
Yeah,
said,
You still can?
Why think?
no, because
Just
you will have rehearsals.
Yeah,
I don't
let's
want
go,
rehearsals.
Dad.
No,
You got into NAFA, now go
No,
into
no.
every
No, thank you.
episode you get into
I'll
something.
be there too.
Yeah,
I will.
Life
I
is
will
short.
Clap my hands. I
Let's
will.
go, Dad.
So concerts,
Come on.
dances, performances. What else? Food. Do you like the food here? Networking.
Yeah, come on, Dad.
No. What else,
and
sir?
of course the food.
Food.
Foodie,
Yeah.
yes.
That's the one thing that my parents retired and they moved here to Vegas. And the number one thing they enjoy is the fact that, unlike back home in Buffalo, New York, where there were no good Asian restaurants or Filipino restaurants, here it's all over the place, and they
Yes.
love being able to go to restaurants and eating Filipino food.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Traveling. I like
Traveling. I
yeah.
also love the easy way of buying online. Amazon.
No, that's yeah.
I love-
That's dangerous.
Yeah,
dangerous.
that's dangerous.
Why is it dangerous? Why?
Dangerous for my credit card.
You know,
Okay.
I found the secret to that though. Add to cart, and then leave.
And then leave. I did that. I also do
leave
that.
and then you forget about it.
Yeah, but when I have this book that I really want, oh my
Yeah,
god.
add to cart,
I love-
then leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do other shoppings
Yeah,
online. It's only for books, Mia. So
yeah, and then don't
books,
put your credit
yes.
card in.
Okay. Yeah. What else do I like? I love the transportation system. At least, I know that if I stayed in my own lane, I'm generally okay. I understand that there are rules and people follow the rules. So I love that about here. Not back there when traffic is just a suggestion, not a rule. All
Oh,
right.
you're talking
what else?
about Nevada only? I thought.
Oh, Las Vegas, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah, when you go to like the outskirts of Utah and Arizona, they're okay. They're cute. Yeah. What else? The places here. I love the places here.
I like the lack of humidity.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I don't like
That's the only thing
perspiring.
that's the only uncomfortable thing
Unless
that I
you're-
remember about going back home to the Philippines.
Very
I
uncomfortable.
know
As soon
when
as
I
you step
went
off the
to-
plane, you sweat.
Oh gosh, when I went to Hawaii and Florida, I was like, I'm never gonna live. But
in
I like
Florida.
Hawaii though.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
I was
yeah.
perspiring.
Yes. All right. So I guess that ends our little talk here with you, Attorney Rex Velasquez.
Well, thank you again
so
for having me.
much for sharing your American experience.
Congratulations.
With us. Congratulations,
Oh, thank you.
Mr. President of Filipiniana Dance
Company of Las Vegas.
Are you an officer, Mia?
Yes, secretary.
Okay, so the president and his
Secretary.
secretary. All righty. So, would you like to say your final words, sir, before we close?
Other than, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to at least talk about the American dream. Again, I love sharing what I do with people. I love trying to fix problems more than anything else, and at least being able to, come onto your program and talk about my experiences of the past. Is very therapeutic.
Oh, it's an honor for us to have you here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Mia, take it away.
Well, congratulations to all the newly elected officers of Filipiniana Dance Company, and thank you, Jackie, for being the past president for all the years also.
Is she now a board member, or Jackie, or
No, but what's the position of Jackie now?
Props.
she's props?
Costume.
Costumes and costumes.
Costume coordinator.
Nice,
Yeah, because
nice.
she has to concentrate with NAFA. But
Okay.
yes, my last quote for today is: no one understands and appreciates the American dream of hard work leading to material rewards better than a non-American, by Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, yes.
late Anthony
Thank
Bourdain.
you. Thank you. Beautiful quote, Mia. Bye, everyone.
See you next
next
week
week.
on the dot. Thank you, Rex. Attorney Rex Velasquez.
Rex Velasquez.
Moving to Vegas? There's no better time than now. Where can you find a 3-bedroom home with a balcony and patio? With upgraded flooring, all appliances included, newly painted, move-in ready. With a community park and pool for under $400,000. Not to mention that it is so convenient to shopping, schools, entertainment. And of course, what is Vegas without the Strip? So what are you waiting for? Call Benjamina today at 702-281-9063. Mia is also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can also visit www.benjaminamiacasino.com and view available homes anytime. Remember, the house wins when you bet on Benjamina Mia Casino.
Just like a friend from back home. This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV.